All right, first of all, on the injury front, have an injury to report. Denisha Stallworth had an arthroscopic procedure this morning. A piece of articular cartilage was floating in her right knee. So she had a scope this morning that went well, and that will sideline her for, we're thinking right now, 3 to 4 weeks. So not the kind of news that you want to hear, but we're glad it was nothing serious. Her knee just kept swelling after the Baylor game. So not quite sure when the injury took place. And so we have moved forward dealing with it, and have a lot of confidence in our medical staff, and we think that she'll be back good as new here in 3 to 4 weeks. So that was a bit of tough news for us, but we are very excited about the opportunity we have to go to DePaul, a very quality basketball team. Certainly when you lose someone like Denisha, everybody has to rally and really come together and work hard and pick up the slack that's created by her absence, and I think that our team is certainly capable of doing that, and I think they will want to do that. So we had a good practice this morning, working hard, trying to get ready for what will be a very well-coached DePaul team. Good athletes, can really spread the floor, can put a lot of pressure on your defense, and we'll have to be sharp and prepared and really tough to go up and get a victory at DePaul. So looking forward to that challenge.
You used that four-guard lineup a ton against Baylor on Friday. I mean, how does that maybe help with Denisha being out, and how does it change the roles of some of those other post players?
Well, you know, what it does, we've had the luxury of depth, and we still, you know, have some depth at the post position, and so we've been able to. We'll get Asia into the starting lineup, and if you look at Asia's numbers, very productive. You know, around 7 points and 7 rebounds in 17 minutes on average. So I mean, she's you know, you add another 8 minutes to her, or 8 or 9 minutes, and we're hoping to see those numbers, you know, go up with extra time on the floor. Now she'll have to get that done, but I think she's playing probably her best basketball since she's been at Kentucky. And then Jalea Sidney, and now we'll move Michaela over full time to the 4 during this time, and I think that really helps our basketball team in a number of ways. Jalea is so active in the press, does such a good job in the press. I think we can play a little bit more up tempo defensively, turn up the pressure a little bit, and then Michaela, I think being able to focus on one position for the next 4 weeks can really help her progress. I think it's difficult for a freshman to come in and have to play multiple positions, and she's done a nice job with it. But she's looked very good the last couple days in practice, just playing primarily at the 4. So, you know, it's a big challenge for Samari to make sure she continues her very consistent high level of play. That needs to remain constant. And so we feel good about our prospects of handling this piece of adversity.
You mentioned Asia moving to a starting role and that she's maybe playing her best basketball. Do you also feel like she's best suited, because her development is kind of come in fits and starts since she's been here, she's kind of best suited to step into a more featured role than she ever has been before?
Yeah, and it's good for Asia because, you know, you fast forward a year from now, we're certainly going to need her to be in a feature role in the post. So it's all good. It's very good that she's can have this opportunity, and she's done an outstanding job so far this season. Her challenges come from a dip in intensity at times that may be from, you know, getting discouraged because of a poor play that she makes, or not being quite as focused as she needs to be. And I think she's been really improving in those areas in a major way. And she has started to shoot the ball a little bit better around the goal. She's got off to a really, really tough start shooting the ball around the goal, really poor shooting percentage. In practice, she's really making a lot of shots, and that's very important for us. And then yesterday, I was very pleased in practice. She sort of was in one of those downward trends in practice, and I challenged her to pick it back up. And it was more instantaneous than it's ever been. She picked it up and finished the practice with probably one of her better practices of the year. And then today was a very good practice for her. So, I'm really proud of what Asia has tried to do since she's been here. She's had to grow a lot as a person. She's had a lot of personal growth since she's been here. She's grown as a student, and now, I think she's got a chance to come into the player that she can be. And during this time with Dee being out, we'll need her production.
You mentioned it potentially being good for Asia down the road. Could Denisha being out maybe help this team down the road, considering it is a short-term
Well,
thing?
I think that anytime you have to focus and do a better job and sort of raise your level of play, I think it gives you an opportunity to be better and be stronger when Denisha comes back. I do think you have to believe that if you're going to remain positive and move forward positively. You can't let everybody in the country has some type of adversity that hits them in different ways, and it's like I told our team, I think we're as well equipped to handle it as anybody, because we've had some kids who have sacrificed to come here that maybe don't play as many minutes as they might, at other places, but they are very good players. We have 10 really good players available for us tomorrow night at DePaul, and we have to embrace this challenge as an opportunity to get better.
So the road trip against a team is probably going to be in the NCAA tournament. What does DePaul do well? What are you concerned about with them?
Well, DePaul's a very good transition offensive team. They're scoring a ton of points. They are averaging in the 90s on offense, and just a really high octane offense. Can really spread the floor, can get 5 people out on the perimeter and put stress on your defense, especially a defense like ours that tries to put pressure on a team and tries to get out in passing lanes. There's a lot of driving lanes. You have to do a very good job guarding the basketball, because they're a very good driving team that can make layups, but they're also a good drive and kick team for threes, good three-point shooting team. So, it put a lot of stress on you defensively. And then their defense is very tough, very tenacious, and they're outstanding at home. They're really, really good in their gym. It'll be a tough environment, and so this will be a huge test for this team.
You've obviously never played 4 overtimes, but what are there things you have to guard against after a win as emotional as Friday?
Well, I think for our team, we'll always have to make sure we're staying very humble and very hungry and very focused on the fundamentals. When you get out to an undefeated record and you've beaten a couple top 10 teams, you must stay focused on the job at hand. We didn't play a perfect game against Louisville, and we didn't play a perfect game against Baylor, and you can't let the result, you can't let the outcome influence your behavior moving forward. And it's been so nice around town. Just the game against Baylor was so exciting, and people around town are so nice, and they're complimenting us. But we're almost a week removed from it now, and people are still talking about it. And you just have to, as a player and as a coach, you have to move forward and understand what's real. It's real that we won that game, but it's over. It's done with. It can't benefit us anymore until selection Monday's the only time that Baylor game will benefit us anymore. In and of itself, the lessons that we could learn from it can help us, and the confidence that maybe we got, but got to make sure that we are understanding that last Friday night won't help us a bit on this Thursday night, and we just have to be ready to play a really, really good DePaul team.
Talked about those four-guard lineups, and you use Jen and Janae together more often than you have at any point this season. What do you think about when they're out there together, and what's the thought process as to which one actually runs the point when they're out there together?
Well, there's a few components to it. When you play them both together, it's really, really hard for the other team in transition, because not only can both of them really break you down off the dribble, both of them can make threes and shoot, they shoot the three so well. So no matter who has the ball, they're a real threat to go to the basket or get into the paint and make the defense shrink and guard the paint. And then whoever's out there and has the ball kicked to them can make threes. So they're a lethal combination when they're on the court together. They're both a little small from a height-wise, so they both, when they're on the floor, they have to be junkyard dogs on defense and use their quickness and their strength. They're both strong players and quick players. They're just not real tall. So defensively, they have to really, really get after it. But if they can guard, when they play together, our transition offense is pretty good.
It sort of depend on matchups as to how often you use them together from this point forward?
Yeah, in the Baylor game, it became clear that scoring was going to be important, and defense didn't look like it was that important in the game. And so they're a really good, that's a good scoring combination. And the way Baylor was playing us, the situation called for both of them being in the game at the same time. Sometimes it's an experience thing. The situation calls for some experience, and then other players may be fatigued, or the freshmen may not be exactly ready for that situation. And the two freshmen are getting closer and closer all the time. They're really practicing well now. And so as we go deeper in the season, the situation may not call for it, but here early in the season, there have been some times where we either needed the scoring punch, or one time Janae was just playing so well, and I was subbing Jen in, and she's like, I'm not going in for Janae. You got to find somebody else for me to go in, because we can't bring Janae out. So it's a variety of situations, but I would say, in the Baylor game, we were looking for scoring.
All right, thanks.
Thanks a lot.